All right, welcome to the May edition of the Lost and Foundry Show 2024. I'm here with Darrell Garrett, our resident firefighter, COO. Are you tired of being introduced as former firefighter at this point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's the past.
Yeah. How many years has it been since?
6.
6 years.
Yeah,
And that's
6
how
years.
long you've been here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 6 years.
I think you came on just a few months after I came on. So I'm coming up on 7 years in August.
Oh, wow.
So we're about the same time. So yeah, let's get right into it. I've got 10 quick questions. We haven't
Okay.
gone over these questions, so I don't know
No.
what the answers are going to be. So I'm really curious. So let's get to know you a little bit. Favorite movie?
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
one. Yeah. It's anxiety inducing.
Yeah,
it's hard to watch
intense.
sometimes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Do you have a family recipe that you guys go back to? It's your favorite?
Yeah, pound cake.
Pound
My
cake.
nanny's pound cake. Yeah, yeah. We've spent years trying to perfect it. We have it, but nobody's perfected it. So it's a constant goal to get it to make it the way she made it.
That's interesting because my favorite family recipe is my mom's carrot cake. So it's also cake.
Yeah.
So is there something about cake?
Something
my
about
grandma's
cakes, yeah.
making cake?
Well, we have a recipe, but she didn't use a recipe. She went by feel, but she wrote it down for us, and so you can't replicate 50 years of experience.
Yeah, I'm a rule follower, so I can't go by feel. I need the rules. What I need to do.
Yeah.
So okay, some of these questions will get a little bit deeper as we go.
Okay.
What is your best quality?
Best quality, probably loyalty. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if you're looking for friends, what is that quality you're looking for in them?
Like down to earth, like a real person. Yeah. I'm looking for somebody that's, authentic or genuine.
Okay.
Yeah. Authentic or genuine. Yeah.
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 And that's pretty tough to find sometimes.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel like sometimes when I'm authentic with people, it turns them off because they're like not wanting to be real. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It's hard to find that right time to be like, this is the real me. So what are you bad at then?
Oh gosh, I'm bad at a lot of things.
Yeah,
What area? What category?
What
am I bad at?
Let's do your personal life.
Oh, what am I bad at? I am staying focused. I'm not the most organized person.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly watching and reading and buying products and things that would help you stay more organized.
Yeah.
Because I got stuff scattered.
Yeah.
Notebooks here and there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, but I juggle a lot. So
Yeah, that's hard, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially when you're scattered.
And you want to be good at everything. So
Yeah.
it's
Yep. You want to check off the boxes.
yeah. Any nicknames?
Well, when I was in high school, I was known as DOG.
DOG.
DEOJI, yeah. Most people don't know that I had a little short stint in a breakdancing street club.
That's great.
So that was my street name. But probably the most long standing nickname would be there's two actually. Doc, which I was given in fire recruit school because I was the only medic in recruit school, so they all called me Doc, and that stuck for a long time, years and years. And then, of course, all my nieces and nephews and uncles call me D.
D.
Uncle D. Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm one of the few hunters that I know, and then I was playing baseball with another hunter, and for my dad to keep up with us, he called me Hunter D.
Hunter D. Oh, yeah.
It's so interesting. So if you were to, every time you walked into a room, there had to be a theme song play, what song would that be?
A theme song. Let's see. A theme song if I walked into a room. I don't know, but it would have to be, my heroes have always been cowboys.
Okay.
My heroes have always been cowboys.
Is there a common saying that you find yourself saying throughout the day?
That I find myself saying throughout the day.
The one I keep finding myself saying is I inherited it from Pastor Bill, and it is what it is.
It is
I say that all the time now.
I can't think of anything, that I say on a constant. Now, I say a lot of country slang terms like "we'll fix it," or or I mean, I'm really bad about that.
That's good for a COO to be like, we'll fix it.
Yeah, we'll fix it. Yeah, we'll fix it. Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, two of the tougher questions. Any secrets you have to making tough decisions?
Well, yeah, I've learned over the years because I'm pretty off the cuff, spontaneous. So my whole life I've had to make rapid decisions and tough decisions quickly. But after being at Foundry for 6 years, I've learned that it's okay in tough decisions to not to be in a rush, to slow down and gather as much information as you can, and make the decision based on what you can obtain, right? Instead of, in other words, every tough decision that have to made and really shouldn't be made quickly unless you're forced to or have to. But yeah, I think it's best to investigate and look at it from every angle, and then make the decision. Gather as much information as you can, and I've also learned it's okay to partner and collaborate and communicate with others to help you make that difficult decision. Yeah,
It's kind of interesting.
You value people's input.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how sometimes if you just say, let's wait a day, how the decision will make itself sometimes.
100. Yes. It reveals itself. The answer reveals itself. You are so true.
There have been a lot of times where I've been want to make a snap decision about something, and I'm the kind of person that's like, let's just wait a day, see what happens, and then I never have to make the decision, which I love.
And it's tough. It's tough for a guy like me that's a checkbox guy that wants to get it done because I want to get it dealt with and get it off my plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very hard for me to wait.
Yeah, I say
But
get that
the
monkey
best
off my back.
outcomes come when you wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would your younger self think of you today?
Oh, that's a good question. What would my younger self think of me today? How did you live this long? How did you live so long?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
He would be surprised,
Yeah. So,
and probably surprised that I'm doing what I do now.
right.
Yeah. He would. My younger self would look at me and go, Where did this come from? Where did drug and alcohol recovery come from? Because that was never on the radar, ever on the radar.
So, and at some level, you're pretty deeply involved with you and Mike at Metro and doing the church thing.
Yeah.
And so, at one point, I figured ministry at that level seemed like a pretty sure thing.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a kid at heart. So anytime no matter what church we were at, I was always drawn to student ministry. I love teenagers and have carried them all over the world, and just because my mentality is a teenager type mentality, but I just loved growing teens, and being there for those that didn't have both parents. So it was very rewarding. But yeah, the ministry piece is a long running thread of my family. My dad was an evangelist, and so. And on my mom's side, her sisters, they had a Christian radio show. So I was always being drugged around to either church or the radio station or singings or dinners on the ground, all that stuff. So all of so it was no surprise that thread or that grain of ministry ran deep in my blood. It's, yeah.
Before we get to the next part of this conversation, the thing, my grandfather was a generation breaker pastor, and my dad was a pastor. His son and his other son was also a youth pastor. And so one of the things I find interesting at where I'm at now is how important nonprofit work was. And when I was in ministry, nonprofit work wasn't really something we thought about or talked about a whole lot. But now that I'm here, it's as important as evangelism is in my mind. I mean, what we're doing here is evangelism in a lot of ways. And, so sometimes it feels like this is the church, right? But what we're doing here, despite the fact that we work here, but, this is the church. And I think that's so interesting, and how the directions our lives can take and the paths we can take and how much good we can do in the world. And we don't need to put ourselves in boxes of, my dad's a pastor, so maybe that's, there's all kinds of different ways that we can serve God and
Yes,
make a difference in the
absolutely.
world.
Yeah.
And there's no Bible verse that says, it just says to go out and spread the message to the world. It doesn't say exactly how to do that.
How to do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to get deeper into this conversation here in just a second. I've got 2 things I want to plug before we do that. Summer of Prayer is coming up. We did it last year. I'm so excited for this year's Summer of Prayer. We're going to start it in June. I just want to put it on your radar. Keep an eye out for it. We'll have one more podcast before where we talk about all the stuff we're going to do. But we're going to have weekly prayer live videos where we're going to pray together about what really matters and making a difference when it comes to addiction and the overdose epidemic. So we've got a monthly giving program called The Change, and I would love for you to be a part of it. I don't carry change around with me anymore. And
No.
I'm using my card everywhere. Sometimes I'll carry a little bit of cash, but I don't really have a use for it anymore. And people don't take it a lot of times when you do have cash. They're looking for the card, right? But we're in Bessemer. And so a lot of times at the gas station, people are asking for change.
sure.
It's kind of an old school thing now to have change in your pocket and to give it to someone in need, or the pennies at the, when you're in the gas station, you need a little leftover. I don't remember the last time I needed that. I remember in college a lot, just having the amount of cash I had in my pocket, that's how much gas is going in my car. And, if I need to break it. But, I don't really have this opportunity anymore where I'm on a street corner and someone homeless is needing a meal and the change in my pocket could make that difference of whether they got a meal that night. But you do have an opportunity to take that change, figurative or literal, in your pocket and turn it into a big impact over the course of a year. And that is our monthly giving program called The Change. So let's consider a quarter a day. Well, over a month, over 365 days, that quarter could be a big difference. Now, think about 2 quarters or 3 quarters. How much change is in your pocket? I think it would be an incredible step of faith to consider how much a monthly gift could mean over the course of a year and what you could give today. So go to foundryministries.com/thechange to learn more and to make your first monthly gift. All right, let's get back into the conversation.
Okay.
Your job title is COO, which is Chief Operating Officer.
Chief Operating Officer. Yes.
What does that mean?
It means a lot.
Yeah, here's the Foundry, it does for sure.
Yeah, it means I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So I have 4 primary responsibilities, right? Professional development, human resources, safety, and facilities. But it's also my responsibility to make sure that our practices and our processes are working like they should. Mm-hmm. So I'm up in everybody's business.
Yeah. It's got to be uncomfortable how intrusive you have to be to make sure things work right.
Yeah, I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
The more comfortable you get in the position, then and everybody understands that I have a role, I have a job to do. So. So they have their answers ready when I come knocking. If not, they find them.
I'm not good at having the answers ready. So talk about how the person that had your position before had a totally different mindset to the role than you do. Not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just different people come at different times to do different things.
Yeah, and the ministry was in a different place.
Yeah.
The former COO, who is excellent and still a dear friend of mine.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible. And I do work for her at her ministry now. And with her staff, I assist her with her staff.
That's awesome.
So we've gotten closer, through the years since I took the role, and I've leaned on her for advice. But yeah, the ministry was in a totally different place than it is now. It's got a totally different structure, a different style of leadership. But so she had to look at the ministry from the lens that she was living through and looking at it, right? So her approach as the COO is totally different than mine. And one of the reasons they hired me as a COO is because of my safety background, right? They want a little bit more emphasis on life safety for not just the program participants, but for staff.
Yeah.
So, same job title, but different. And I think when Micah became the CEO, he had a vision for. When he took over as CEO, he had a vision for what he wanted the COO to take care of, my buckets,
Yeah.
And so I think he kind of rearranged a lot of that stuff. having worked with a former CEO as well.
Yeah. It's interesting how we have these static titles, but very much the responsibilities of those titles are fluid based
Yes.
on the
Yes.
direction we're going and what we want,
Where we are,
the people
yeah.
who are in the role. Because, I mean, I think you would be miserable trying to do what Leslie did. The kind of mindset she had about how much her fingers were in marketing and development.
Oh,
and,
yes.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Not my wheelhouse.
right.
Right.
So you could almost make yourself miserable trying to live up to someone else when,
Yeah.
in fact, you could do a better job by just being you and covering the things you need to cover that she never covered.
Yeah,
Right.
that's correct.
So, and I think it's really commendable how much, safety was never like a first top of mind thing around here. And it was always like we've done shooter drills because just to be frank about the nature of our business, like
Yeah.
it's been an issue multiple times since I've been here that we've had to been on high alert because that's been a possibility. And so taking that kind of stuff seriously, or even just something as simple as shooting fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Fire extinguisher training. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just having you around, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting that we never did something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The goal, so my primary goal is to reduce our liability in all areas, right? And so I do work closely with our insurance carriers and, to make sure that we're providing, I mean, we want to be as safe as we can be and reduce our liability as much as we can, to reduce loss of life and facilities and financial gain through lawsuits. We try to prevent all of that.
Mm-hmm. You've taken a very forward approach to HR too. Is that something that matters to you a lot, or?
Absolutely, because our number one asset is our staff, and so I love the fact that human resources falls under my title, and I've learned a lot about human resources in 6 years, and we're learning every day. But if your number one asset is your people, then you've got to make it a priority to take care of them, and we have in the 6 years that I've been here, Sis Dixon and I have created a substantial official human resource department where we have avenues and forms and processes and procedures to take care of our people. Whether it be a financial need or a counseling need or a medical need, we got your back.
Yeah, that's it's good to hear, and I've seen it proven over and over again that that's true. That's not just words. So talk about how the balance between you're taking care of staff, but we also have 200 and something participants here that also need to be taken care of. What's the balance between how much work you put into one and the other?
Yeah, so it is a balancing act because program participants and staff both have their own handbook, right? And a lot of the rules cross over, and so both parties are protected. We have a lot of rules to protect both parties, and in this type business, our staff they're always at a risk, right, of being accused or abused or manipulated or misused. So I have to investigate every flare up or case on an individual basis, and we never take a program participant's word over a staff member's word, but we're going to fully investigate it to see what can we do to resolve this. How we can protect both sides. How can we protect your recovery but protect your job, and keep you doing what you love doing. So yeah, it is a balancing act.
Yeah.
And it gets very touchy.
And when you work with participants for so long, it can be easy to become jaded because the background they come from much of the time is such a ruthless background.
Yes.
And so, just to be frank, some of them are willing to say anything to get their way.
Yes.
But that's not all of them, so you don't want to treat them all as
That's
a
right.
monolith.
Yeah.
They're individuals, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard and seen some things that they've done that are embarrassing, right?
Yeah, and so it's very important for us to train. That's part of the professional development piece is to put these classes in place that train our staff how to set healthy boundaries and how to navigate through those murky waters of dealing with somebody in addiction.
Yeah.
Because yes, here on the program side, our counselors are very well trained, and our men's program directors and managers are very well trained in how to navigate and manage those waters.
Right.
But you take a young female or a young male at the thrift store out of college, that wants to work in our thrift store, they need a lot of support or a lot of foundation to help them navigate that.
Yeah.
They're working with 30 or 40 people recovering from addiction, and they need specific instructions on how to, when they do this, how do you handle it? What do you say when one of them approaches you and does this or says this?
Yeah.
So it can be intimidating and scary for a thrift employee.
I can't imagine. Because that's not really your job when you come into it.
No, it's not. I mean, you're told up front that you're coming into a ministry, and every position is a ministry position, and you're taught how to do your, let's say, production job. But what you're not prepared for, what you realize quickly, is that they can be a handful. And how do I do my job plus minister to this man or woman who's really trying to take advantage of me, right? Or get what they can out of me.
Right.
And so,
Which is not all, that's a very low percentage of them,
low
but
percentage, yes.
but there are a few
But
that
there are
come in.
there are some cases, yeah.
Yeah. Even, I came in with my job being to tell stories and to make all the content to help connect people who care about the mission to what we're doing. So even I'm not thinking about my interactions with participants necessarily. And so it can catch you off guard when,
Yes.
you come from a different background or,
Yeah.
you don't realize what they're doing until it's happened. And
Yes.
you're like, obviously we're protected from that. And Tawana and Jackie and Eddie do a great job at being a barrier to that in a lot of ways. And Dana and Wayne, they're all doing a great job at
Yeah,
that.
they really are.
And we're in a great position, for where the staff is. And I mean, specifically Tawana and Eddie and Jackie, like it's hard for me to understand where the Foundry would be without what they're doing. And
We're going to take a more progressive approach this next fiscal year, the 24-25 year. We've laid out a professional development plan that will really, really train each level of employee, depending on where they are, whether entry level, mid level management, upper level management. We have some incredible classes coming, like a lot of classes coming in this fiscal year.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be educational, but I really think it's going to prepare and help shore up everybody for what they face on a daily basis. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
That sexual harassment training we had one time felt like a scene from The Office watching that. So if it's anything like that, I'm going to be pretty excited.
Yeah, thankfully we found some more modern stuff, some more current stuff.
Oh, man. So when we're looking towards the future of the Foundry and, kind of the stuff you're doing, what is it that has you excited about the direction the Foundry is going?
We're in a great financial season, right? God's really blessed us with donors, events, and grants
Across the board?
across the board.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about facility upgrades. We're looking at some potential really, really nice facility upgrades that are long overdue.
There's some secret projects that
Secret projects.
as soon as I can reveal them, they will be revealed, but you're going to have to just hold on till then.
Yeah. So I'm excited about the potential facility upgrades, and I'm excited about the new professional development program, about being able to educate and equip our people to do an even better job than they do now. Yeah.
I mean, Darrell is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff. And as someone who's been here the whole time you've been here, it's been really great getting to know you this whole time.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
We'll do a
Same
podcast
here.
sooner than 5 years. It's been 5 years since we
5
talked.
years.
And I mean, to me, it's just incredible how someone can not be in your life, and then because of a job, they're in your life, and it's like, how did I ever not know this person?
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
and so we call it the Foundry family, and it really does become like that, where you have your uncles and your brothers and your sister and all
You're
these
right.
family dynamics that happen. And even those of you who aren't staff here, but you're certainly part of the Foundry family, and I see your comments and the people who like consistently, and I go, man, that person's really Foundry family. When I see, and those of you who know, you're the ones that comment, and I hope you comment on this video so that I can reply to your comments and let you know. But Foundry Families just keeps growing closer and larger. And we're glad that you're a part of it. Thank you for joining me for another podcast
Yeah,
episode. We'll do
absolutely.
it again
It was
soon.
fun.
Don't forget about Summer of Prayer. Mark your calendar. All summer long, we're going to pray for all sorts of things, but mostly that God's will is done here in this ministry and in your lives. And don't forget to check out the change. Consider that change in your pocket. Are you going to give it to someone today? I hope you do. Anyways, thank you. We'll see you next month for the Lost and Foundry Show.